Hello guys, my name is Michael and today we are going to make some changes to our tutorial flow and this happens because if I'm going to talk with you about the next widget which we are going to learn, which needs a lot of things to make it work, it will be very hard for you to understand it, and I think that it is a better way if I show you in a different way. You know those words, a picture makes like 1,000 words. Well, how about a video? So let's see. Before we proceed, we are working with our buttons and all those possible buttons which derived from another ones, toggle button, check button, radio button, and so on. They had all of them object hierarchy. So now let's see something. GTK entry, you remember we are talking about it? Of course you do. When we are talking about GTK entry, we are using its signals, styles and properties, and now it is time to talk about its object hierarchy, because I had to I had to skip this part, because before you learn what a spin button is or something like this, you need to understand what buttons are. So that was the reason why I didn't talk about these let's say object hierarchy of GTK entries. So basically we have two now. The first one is the GTK search entry, and the second one is the GtkSpinButton. About the first one we are not going to talk about this today, because I need to make some things clear for you before we go there. We almost cover everything, almost everything you need to know so that you can start with this widget. But today we are going to talk about the other one, the GtkSpinButton. So let's see. As you can see, we have here a picture about it, and you can see what kind of thing it is. You can just think about something like, for example, your volume control. You see here, this one. It's a little bit different. There is another widget which looks like this one, but this came out now in my mind so that I can show you. So basically what a stick thing, you can do it with this one. Okay, so let's see what its description says. Says the GtkSpinButton is an ideal way to allow the user to set the value of some attribute, rather than having to directly type a number into a GTK entry. We already know what this means. We learn about GTK entry. GtkButton allows the user to click on one of the two arrows. Arrows in this example means those two buttons, minus and plus. Those are the arrows, if you are asking yourself. To increment or decrement the displayed value. A value can still be typed in, with the bonus that it can be checked to ensure it is in a given range. Okay, what this means we are going to talk, but here is the thing which we need to take care for. The main properties of the GtkSpinButton are through an adjustment. So see the GtkAdjustment section for more details. So this means even if I was going to talk with you about GtkSpinButton, we cannot talk about it, because that's the problem. I can show you the adjustments, but then are two things which you need to learn them at the same time. We are not going to do that. I'm not going to complicate the things, so I'm going to make them easier and clear for you, so that you can easier work with them. Okay, so let's see. I have a program here, and the program which I have looks like this. As you can see, we have the same spine button like here, this one. Now its values are set to 0, so this means I cannot change here nothing. This means I want to explain you something, and this is about the GTK adjustment, the thing which the button needs. So basically it says if you create a new GTK button, GTK spine or spin, how you call it, spin button, no? I think it's spin, I'm not sure, whatever. That's the funny part of my spelling words. I'm not sure every time if I spell it right, but I'm sure you know, so you will ignore it because we are not going to learn English here, we are going to learn GTK. Okay, so let's say GTK spine spin button new. Okay, this one takes 3 parameters. The first one says is the adjustment, this thing which we need to take care of this part, if not we cannot work with this part. And the other 2 are the climb rate, so specifies, we'll see about GtkAdjustment has a low and upper values, so those low and upper values are basically this climb rate somehow, so that you understand. And digits, the digits are the number of decimal places, so that when you see here you have 0 and then those 2 zeros. Now this means I have basically digits here only 2, so you can specify, I think, I don't know, a lot of them, a lot, 31 or something maybe digits. I don't know where you will in this world need so many decimal points, but you can have them, whatever. Okay, so basically we are not going to talk today about GtkSpinButton because we cannot work with it, because we need to understand it. So this means we are going to talk about GtkAdjustment. This is the thing which we need to talk. So this thing has some functions. We are going to work with them in the next tutorials, but we need to go down. Here are the properties, signals, type and values, object hierarchy. As you can see, it is the only one. Those 2 we don't need to talk about them, so this means we are saved with this complicated thing, but without this adjustment we cannot set scales and so on. Okay, so says the GtkAdjustment object represents a value which has an associated lower and upper bound, together with the step and page increments and the page size. It is used within several GTK widgets, including GtkSpinButton, you see, we need it, GTK Report, we'll talk about this, and GTK Range, which is base class for, of course, GTK Scroller and GTK Scale. You see how many things are here, so those things, we'll talk about them. Anyway, the GtkAdjustment object does not update the value itself. Instead, it is left up to the owner of the GtkAdjustment to control the value. What this means, we'll see. So anyway, let's see just this first function, and then we are going to stop. We are going to take care only about the meaning of this. So let's see. It says here adjustment takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. The first one is the value, the second is the lower, upper increment, step increment, page increment, and page size. Okay, so basically this is the adjustment which you need to create it. So we will see how exactly means creating this, so that you can make this spin button or spine button, then whatever, to make it work. Okay, so let's see. We have here created our widget, our spin button widget. Okay, so at this point we have all the values are set to 0. This means we cannot make no changes here. Even if you type here something like 6, if you hit enter, it will be still 0 because we have no values. So this means we set the increment value, lower, upper, and so on, base size to 0. I won't show you the code because you don't need it right now, but I just want to tell you that all these values were set to 0. You will see why in a moment. So now watch. What means value, what means lower, upper, and so on. Let me, before I'm explaining everything here, I need to set these values just to make some movements here, and then we'll talk about this value. So I will set the lower value, the value with on the value to 0. As you can see, the value was set to 0, stays here. the lower I set it also to 0, the value, the lower was set to 0, the upper I will set it to 100. You see here we have 100. Increment I will set it to 2. Now set it to 1. As you can see, the stepping I will set to 1. The paging I will set it to 10. See, and the page size I will set it this time to 0. Okay, so basically we have made some changes. What kind of changes do we have here? Let's see. Let's take the volume control for a second as an example. Set value to 0 means here this is 0. We'll see in a moment what exactly means, but I want to know that you understand. Set value, we set it to 0. It's easy. Set lower, we set it also to 0. This means how down can I drag this scale, if I can call it like this, to which position. So I can drag it to 0. Upper I can drag it to 100. You see, if I go up here I have my volume control of 100%, which means it's 100. So this is basically between 0 and 100. This is what lower and upper does. Step increment means if I push the plus button, it should move with 1, if I can call it percent, so that you understand. If I use page up, page down, it should go with 10. Like something like that, much faster. Okay, so let's see. Now we have 0. I will push the plus button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see, 11 and so on. So this means this does this step increment. This value, once that you set it, the plus and the minus, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and so on. This is basically the increment which takes place here with minus a plus. Okay, so we know that we have the lower to 0. This means we go to 0, and we know that we have the upper to 100. You see, it goes to 100 and then it's dead. It's not working anymore. So how does happens? Because we set lower to 0 and upper to 100, and the stepping was to 1. Now the page increment, this is set to 10. So this means on your keyboard, if you hit page up or page down, or if you maybe you have a laptop, like I have 2 of them, which they are different. One of them it is I don't know 10-inch maybe laptop, and that one has no page up, page down. So I have this FN key. And then up and down arrows, which does the same thing. So now I will basically press the page up, and once that I do pressing this keys, you see 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, I go back, 51, 41 and so on. So this is basically what the page increment does. Okay, now then the next one. The set page size. What this means? Well, in the spine button doesn't really has a real effect, but we're going to give it one. So what means this? We are going to talk in a moment. We'll let it to 0. Now watch. I'm going to change set value to another value. Let's say 10. I will hit enter, and now we have a value of 10. What this means, let me put to 50. What this means? Well, let's see. I go back to our volume control. So our volume control has a lower and the upper bound, and has a 50% bound. So this means I'll try to put it at 50%. 48, 49, 50. So just imagine for a second, you are using this volume control at 50%. Which is okay for you. Next time when you start your computer starts at this value. What this means? This means that you don't need to go back from 0 or from 100 to 50. Yeah, you don't need to go there. You only need to set it once by dragging it down or up, or minus or plus, and then next time when you start your computer it will be there where you set it. So basically this is the thing which does the value, the set value. You see, you give it a value, and this value should be between lower and upper. That's very important. What do you think this happens if I give now 125? Sorry, not here, here. What do you think this happens if I think, well, the GTK adjustments, it is quite clever. It will try to fit inside of what you gave here so that it fits. So this means when I hit now enter, you see it is 100. It can be 125, isn't it? No, it can't. Why? Because we have 100 here. So basically it has to be between lower and upper bounds. This is the clean break. So this is the part where you need to take care before you set the value. So the value, it should be at least 0 or greater than 0, but not greater than lower, but not greater than upper. It should be at least less or equal to upper. I know it. Okay, so basically this does the value. It sets the position of the in our example, like you see here, it set the position of the spine button when you run the program. So it's set to 50. So when you run the program next time, it will be to 50. If you save it somewhere, so that in a variable, it will start with 50. Okay, now let's see next thing. We are talking about lower and upper. So we know that the lowest is 0 and the upper one will be 100. How about if you set it to 5? Let's see. I will hit 5. Okay, here is still 50. I will go down here. Let's see what happens. Bam! You see, you cannot go more down than 5. So this means if you are setting something with your this spine button which it does not allow to be more or less than 5, this means if you go back to our volume control, which is here, you see here basically we have 0, but we can set it so that it has no less than 5. This means don't mute my sound. If you understand what I mean. This happens if you block it to this point. So this means you still have some sound. It's not loud. It's quite quiet, but it's there. The sound is there. You have it. Why? Because you set the range of the volume control to 5. Sorry. So this means this 5 here. It doesn't allow you to go beyond 5. So this means 5 is the lowest value which can be set by pushing or pressing the minus button or the left arrow. Okay, now we know what means. The other one we already know that. Plus means we go all the way up to 100. We cannot proceed further because the 100 is the maximal. Okay, so this is the part which does basically these 3 little things here. Now I hope you understand them. Like I said, 50 means put it to 50%. So the value of the spine button should be at 50%, if I can call it like that, between these two. The lower value, it is the value which will decrement our spin button. So in this example we had 5, now I put that to 0 so that we can go to 0. Okay, next thing, the upper, where we said the value you set it here is the maximum value which you can set it with the plus button or the right arrow. Okay, next one is the step increment. We set it to 1, we can push it to 2. As you can see, the step increment was set to 2, and now if you go down you see 18, 98, 96 and so on. You see 82 and goes down and so on. Okay, page increment, or this told you 10 or 5. If you set it to 5, you see we just set to 5. Now if I hit now the page up and page down, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on. You see, and I go back to 40, 35, and so on. So basically, this means what are step increment and page increment. So now the last thing, which I said it doesn't make too much sense for a spine button, but what and how can we use it? Well, let's see. We know that we have lower and the upper. This means everything lower than this, it's not working, and everything above this thing is not working. Well, with this part is true. How about with this part? Well, it works too, at least as long as here we have 0. How about if you are put now, let's put 9. How about now? We are just setting the page size was set to 9. What this means? Watch. I'm going to increment our spin button. Up, 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 up. 91. It's not working. Why? Well, 91 with 9 makes 100. Okay, let's put another one. 16. Let's go down. Let's go up. Bam. 84 plus 16 makes 100. So in this example, so that you understand, this is the maximal rate of the upper value which you can reach it. It is now the upper minus page size. You see? So page size basically says if you are not allowed to go beyond 5%, you know what? You are also not allowed to go after more than 83, 84, 85. You see? So basically, I'm not allowed to listen music which is louder than 85%. I cannot. Why? Because the page size is set to 16 and says upper minus page size is maximal allowed value which I can set it and which is allowed for me to set it. So basically these are those things which I hope you understand them clear before we proceed with GTK adjustment and GTK spine button. And I think we covered enough for our video today, which like I said, it is an intro. So until we are going to work with these two widgets, just remember. Anyway, GTK adjustment, I don't think it's a widget. Let's call it that. It's object. It's just an object. It's not a widget. Okay. Of course, it's an object. Whatever. It's not really a widget. Okay. So this being said, this is what I wanted to show you today. This is what it was for me important, so that I can show you what exactly means and what exactly does GTK adjustment and how this reflects to the GTK spine button. Okay, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share it with your friends and neighbors, and until next video, see you guys.